Well, good morning, good day. I hope that this video finds you well and ready to go. Today we are in section 623, and there's really just one problem we're doing. And the title is How Can a Solution Be Represented and Making Connections Between Systems and Multiple Representations. So when I use that phrase multiple representations, I'm talking about situation, which we're going to be given, coming up with a table of values that represents the situation, an equation that represents the situation, and a graph. So how are those related and interrelated? The other thing that I will be talking about, and I'll just use this thing here, is we're going to end with a discussion about the idea of the difference between an intercept and where lines intersect. So those are different words, intercept and intersect. If you look at this graph, I have an x and a y-intercept, right? This graph has a y-intercept located here and an x-intercept that's located over here. So we have the x and y intercepts, x-intercept, y-intercept. But these lines intersect with a t at the end at this location. So be thinking about that, the difference between an x and a y intercept. Where does a line intercept the y-axis? Where does it intercept the x-axis? And where do two different lines intersect each other? So the title of this problem, well, the subtitle says the hills are alive. So the Alpine Music Club, pretty difficult to get into these days, is going on its annual music trip. The members of the club are yodelers, and they like to play the xylophone. So they're all yodelers, but they like to play the xylophone. This year, they are taking their xylophones on a gondola. It's one of those things on cables that goes up high in the mountains. On a gondola to give a performance at the top of Mount Smock. The gondola conductor charges $2 for each yodeler and $1 for each xylophone. It cost $40 for the entire club, including the xylophones, to ride the gondola. Two yodelers can share a xylophone, so the number of yodelers on the gondola is twice the number of xylophones. So ultimately, how many yodelers and how many xylophones are on the gondola? So our point here is to think about this situation and model it with multiple representations and find a solution. You will be completing this activity in Desmos to kind of show your work and to record your work. So it starts with this introduction page. On this page, there's a couple spots where this is the information we pretty much just read, but we're going to focus on things kind of one at a time. So it says start by focusing on one aspect of the problem, the cost to ride the gondola. The conductor charges $2 for write a let statement that defines your variables. So we're going to write a let statement that defines the variables, and I'd like you to use x and y, but I just want you to define what they're tracking. And then it says now find at least 5 pairs, that should be an S, at least 5 pairs of XY values, xylophone and yodelers, that satisfies the condition that the total cost for the yodelers and their xylophones to ride the gondola is $40. So we're just focusing on just the cost part, not the part about the xylophone ratio to the other one. So find 5 pairs of data, and when you click below here, you can add more rows. So right now there's just the one row, but if you click below it, you can get a second row. Oops. And if you have values like 6, 8, 5. So I'm just looking for 5 pairs of values that work, right? If you have this many xylophones that you're bringing with you and this many yodelers, the cost, remember, has to add up to $40, and you remember what the conductor charges, right? Each yodeler costs so much, each xylophone costs so much, but the cost together has to add up to $40. So that's what you're working on here. 5 pairs that satisfy this condition, and or the condition here about the $40, and yeah, And then here I'm looking for, now write an equation that represents the relationship in the table above. So an equation here. And then finally, write an equation that represents the fact that the two yodelers can share a xylophone. So the number of xylophones on the gondola is twice the number. So the number of yodelers on the gondola is twice the number of xylophones. All right, and then you'll continue on to the next screen. This will echo your equations here, and if you see any errors in either your let statements or the equations, you can go back and edit them. This is not going to be here. This will be deleted. Moving forward, you're going to be asked to graph both of those, so you'll just graph them in Desmos like you normally would. Then it's going to be showing you your graphs, and so there's only the 5 screens here, so go ahead and fill these out. You do not need to work independently. I encourage you to have someone on a call, or if you're in class, to be working together to complete this activity. All right, class, that's it for today. Only 6 minutes.